What's up again, everybody? Welcome back. This is Jaguars Uncovered, brought to you by the Undroppables Network. I am your host, Schultzy. This is my co-host, Josh, over on the side. Tonight, we're talking about real football, week one, actual action, starters playing the whole damn game. Let's go. All right, Josh, my man, what's up tonight?
How we doing, man? Like you said, we got real football coming up. 2 days.
Yes, we got the Chiefs opener, we got Friday night football, we got Sunday football, Monday football. Blessed.
Whew.
Hashtag blessed over here. We're just gonna jump right into some Dolphins talk because all the preseason crap's over. And yeah, real football. Let's get to it. We're going to Miami, man. 1 p.m. kickoff here at Hard Rock Stadium. Not here. I'm not there. You're not there. Over there, down there, Hard Rock Stadium, we got 1 p.m. kickoff. I checked the weather earlier. It says a high 88, possible rain, thunderstorms, like later in the day maybe, but nothing too intense for southern Florida in September. So I mean, they kind of lucked out on that one. The Dolphins, hey, fresh off an 11-6 season. Everybody knows about the Dolphins, like high-flying offense here. They landed a wild card berth. They got kind of waxed by the Chiefs, but a lot of people do. They went 2-1 in the preseason. Really, not much to tell there. Starters didn't play a ton, but the main story here with the Dolphins is the offense and the skill players, and we're gonna get into that some down here. But on the flip side, we got the Jags, and the Jags went 9-8. Started 8-3, then missed the playoffs. We were all there. We all saw it. I don't need to tell you the story. They look to right last year's wrongs. They've got a revamped wide receiver room, with Brian Thomas, Gabe Davis coming in. New defense with Ryan Nielsen leading the charge there, and Eric Armstead, a nice addition. And most importantly, a healthy Trevor Lawrence. The preseason honestly went about as well as you could want. I mean, the injuries were minimal, nothing to anybody super critical, and they made plays, and like here's to keeping that momentum rolling. And the first thing I'm going to ask you about, man, is play calling. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think it really matters? Like, what's up there?
I think at this point we're gonna get Press Taylor. I think we all know we're getting Press Taylor. I think the move down to the sidelines was that last nudge that we're getting Press Taylor. Doug made the joke today about we may never know, but this is gonna be a thing all year. So, but I'm calling it. It's gonna be Press.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. He low key cooked in the preseason. We'll see what happens when defenses, maybe aren't playing so vanilla and they're kind of game planning a little harder. However, he had a good preseason. But I was watching the Jags chat today on Twitch with Dilla, and they were talking about how with Press and Doug, it's like, why wouldn't Doug just be like, yeah, I'm calling the plays, and then just like he doesn't have to. Like, coaches lie all the time. Like, it's just kind of weird that he's kept this story lingering around this one.
Yeah, everything with Doug and Press has been weird. So, but yeah, you're right. Doug should say I'm calling plays and then not call a single play all year. Nobody would question it.
Well, yeah, because they were talking about how like in 2022, apparently Press was calling half the games and none of us knew. So like,
right?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Go ahead.
I've got a hot take about Press.
Okay, go ahead.
I think year. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I think year 2 Press is gonna like low key cook because I've pointed out on Twitter a ton. I hate Doug's offense. It's super static. Super archaic in terms of the modern NFL. He's traditional West Coast. So bringing in press like full time, we know it's going to be press. I think we may get some modern things. We've kind of seen it this preseason with some of the stuff he's been doing. So I'm just hoping it stays in terms of the motion and everything.
Right. And a big one, if preseason, like you said, is any indicator, like the screen usage doesn't look to be so heavy. We're going to talk about Trevor under center. So we've gotten to see a little bit of that now, especially the last week of preseason, where Doug said he was kind of looking for more of a realistic game plan and stuff. And with that went the two drives we saw Trevor under center a lot. What do you think of that? Do you like that? I mean, it looked great so far.
Yeah, that's some of the stuff I'm talking about with press as well. Is just that under center play action stuff. I think that helps. I mean, it makes the picture a little easier. It opens up the middle field that they like to attack with those crossers, bring those linebackers up a little bit. I mean, I like it. It's a different look than that continuous RPO game that Doug loved to run. So I think it'll be good. You can work a lot out of that.
And we got Grindberg in the chat here. He says, "Nice haircut, Schultzy. Thanks. It was long overdue. I had I had a mop for sure." Trevor never did anything under center in college, so he's
closest he got was the pistol.
Year 4 here, third year in the offense. Like he's gonna like he's starting to get comfortable, and it's a thing they can start to do more often. And he's starting to look really good in the play action drop back game like that. Depth chart here was released today, and one interesting thing we saw: Chad Muma jump Devin Lloyd.
Yeah, that was super intriguing. Jaguars SI. I think it's Zach Goodall. I'm pretty sure it's Jaguars SI. Hope
he's
so. Or Jaguars Wire. I don't know. One of those two. He's really good at what he does. That's all I know.
You're not wrong.
But he mentioned how they've kind of had the same thing all preseason, and then like in 2 linebacker sets, Lloyd has always played, so he's wondering if that's what's going to be a thing. So that was a nice little insight there. Apparently,
yeah. We'll
still,
see how
Muma should be overloaded
through an entire game of defensive snaps, but it is definitely kind of a big surprise right off the bat there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Mason Smith at the bottom was also a pretty big one.
Oh yeah, that is very surprising, especially after how much he showed out week 3 against the Falcons there. Let's just jump ahead 1 on the list here in D-line rotation. How do you see that playing out this week? A lot of talk about Armstead being like the third edge rusher, and that's what he wanted to come here to do. How do you see the rotation on the defensive line playing out?
This weekend, especially because it is Miami, I think we'll see a lot of the tackles rotate. When you look at the depth chart, there's still only 4 edges, and they do have Armstead at D tackle. So I'm assuming they're just going to rotate those guys consistently and allow Armstead and Trayvon and Josh to just stay fresh and keep a constant rotation there. And then obviously on third down, we're expecting to see all of them. Like the third down rush should be Trayvon, Josh, Devon, and Armstead.
I can't wait for that first 3rd and 7 plus.
Oh yeah, where they get to just tee off. That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we're going to see a lot of rotating here, and I'm just intrigued to see the different combos they come up with, and not only the combos of what 4 guys, about when you have those 4 guys out there, who's lining up where. Because let's be real, Trayvon can kick inside for plays. Armstead can kick in and out. You've got a lot of guys here who can kind of do multiple things on the defensive line and be effective at both. So and Ryan Nielsen's like one of the perfect coaches for this. So yeah, that's going to be exciting. Wide receiver, the wide receiver room, man. Like I wanted to see how do the targets in the passing game truly shake out when we're looking at a full sample of a full game. You know.
Yeah. If I had to guess, I mean, we're going to see a lot like we saw last year. Kirk and Ingram are just going to get peppered with targets. And then Gabe is going to be that middle of the field target. He's filling the Zay role. And then obviously BTJ will just get targets when he gets targets. I don't know if they're going to force feed him early. So I think he's more of a late breakout guy. So early, Dolphins
I tend to
especially, I
agree
think we're going
there.
to see like Kirk and Ingram pretty exclusively.
So the one thing with Brian Thomas, man, so we've talked about how they pigeonholed Ridley into that usage last year. But even in the preseason, it's like they're have developed like a more sophisticated um utilization for Thomas than they even ever did for Ridley in just a few like snippets of preseason action. Are we looking at a coaching staff that actually stared themselves in the face and like did some real self scouting for once?
Yeah, just like I mentioned earlier, I think this is like one of the positives of press getting a full summer of like I'm the play caller kind of thing. He's gotten to design it in his image as opposed to in Doug's image. Obviously, it's still Doug's offense, but now he gets to use a guy like Brian Thomas, like, ooh, I can move him here and here with all these pieces. It also helps having guys like Gabe Davis who are able to be moved around on like Zay.
Yeah, I think the one of the most fun things about this offense is going to be to see how they use the weapons to just complement and play off each other, because as soon as you're scared of one of them, then you're going to get hit underneath by Ingram. And then as soon as you're scared about Ingram, all of a sudden Thomas is back open over behind you. And it's like, I think they did a great job of building a complementary group of skill guys for Trevor. And yeah, speaking of Trevor, man, under pressure to live up to this contract. We have never seen the Jaguars with this kind of quarterback in town who's got the big deal and is. I mean, you can go back to the Burnell times. It's just a different era, and even then, Burnell wasn't Marino, Elway. I guess like early Manning career. You know what I mean? Like he was never that level of quarterback. So like we finally have that kind of guy, and it's going to be interesting to see, but I have no problems about like him stepping up to it. Like every time you hear him talk, like the money hasn't affected him to this point, so I don't see why this would now. He's all business, man. I don't have any worries.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, the dude's been under pressure since his freshman year of college. And then he came to Jacksonville and everybody looks for opportunities to dunk on him. So this
Yeah,
just
that's
gives
a good
people more
point. I
excuses
mean,
to just like confirm their biases.
yes, exactly. And shoot, he's probably been under more pressure since high school. Like, and then he won the national championship as a true freshman. So, like, yeah, I don't think this is anything that's gonna slow Trevor down. Running back rotation. What do you think's gonna happen, or what do you want to happen? What do you got there?
I want to see how they mix in tank. Like, is it just going to be short yardage? Are they actually going to give ETN some breaks? Because he was still heavy usage back last year, even with the usage of Dearness and Hasty and
Yep.
Tank last year. So are they actually going to give him a break and move more 50-50, or is it still going to be like 80-20?
There's no way it's gonna be a 50-50. Like there's no way. ETN is just too damn good and explosive. I think like an 75,
Right.
25, 80, 20 is like perfect. Like you need to spell ETN some. Like you need to get those carries down a little bit. But also at the same time, I don't want Tank to be used so little that he becomes predictable, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you got to have that rotation, and Tank has that ability to break away, so he doesn't have to be just a short yardage back. He can be somebody you bring in 1st and 10, and let's see what he does. Stuff like that.
That's true. I mean, when we did the film stuff, like he's got some burst still to him for a power back. Last thing before we get into our like 3 things to win, Mike McDaniel, man, it's week 1. This dude's been in the lab all off season. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, Miami in September is not a fun team to play. I'm a little nervous. If we didn't have our own mad scientist on defense, I'd be a little more scared. But I know we got something in there too. It's gonna be fun to see the wrinkles. Last year he had that cheat motion he started using, and the league copycatted. So it'll be cool to see what he does, even if we're on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, exactly. It sucks to play them early in the year because 1, it's not cold. Like everybody knows, the sleigh breeze will knock this team flat on their ass. And 2, yeah, you don't have any tape on anything McDaniel has up his sleeve. So it's like at the run game, like he's about to have a couple plays in the run game where you're like, wait, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's do each of us jotted 3 things down for what we think the Jags need to do to take this one home. And I'll just go first over mine. We have 2 that are honestly pretty damn similar. No surprise. My first one is the pass rush. Like, pass rush has got to show up. Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, Eric Armstead. We've talked about the rotation a little bit there. These guys have got to get home because this Dolphins offensive line is about as pitiful as the Jags, man. Like, they lost their best, one of their best linemen last offseason in Robert Hunt. Didn't they lose their center as well?
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. So they
lost their center and their guard.
So yeah, you're looking at Teron Armstead still around. So like he's like the one dude on the line that you're like, all right, he's a solid player. The rest of the line is very questionable. They've got to take advantage of this. They can take advantage on the interior as well. Like let's see Devon Hamilton show up and make some plays. Pass rush, pass rush, pass rush. You've got to disrupt Tua. The pass rush leads right into my second thing, limiting Tyreek. Look, you're not going to stop him. That's never going to happen. If you go into a game against this offense, like telling yourself you're going to like legit stuff Tyreek Hill for a whole game, you're out of your damn mind. Like he's going to chunk some plays off you and you've got to live with it. But just don't let him go absolutely bananas on you. That's when you're screwed. And then lastly, for me, also kind of tied in tackle. This skill group of guys between Hill, Waddle, Mostert, Achane, these guys are just disgustingly fast and will just screw you up after the catch. If you don't tackle when you have the opportunity, you are in for a long ass day against the Dolphins. What do you think about those? And hit me up with your 3.
Yeah, I mean, mine are kind of along the same veins of like what you just finished talking about. My first 2 are limit the quick passing game and tackle in space. Like you mentioned, Tyreek, Waddle, they can take a 5-yard slant, 80 yards to the house. If you mess up angles, if you mess up tackling them, like they will burn you. And it's the same with Mostert and Achane in the open field on run plays. You have to tackle these guys in space. Tua had the fastest time to throw last year.
Yep.
And
Another
NFL,
note
you
on
assume that's
that.
going to happen again this year. So he wants to get rid of them. You have to tackle in space if they get that ball out there.
Yeah. One quick note. They're farting around with using Achane in the slot now. So yeah, it's not going to be fun. Keep going.
No, yeah, that's another. Yeah, it's going to be like the linebackers. They love throwing over the middle. Linebackers got to be ready. They got safeties got to be ready. Like they have to tackle in space. And then my last one is finish drive with points. As we know, watching this team last year, the biggest killer was once we crossed the 50, we had to hold our breath on what was going to happen. I forget who had the stat, but it was, I think when the Jags crossed the 50, they only scored on like 25% of the time. So
Oh, I
from the
remember
50
that. Yeah.
yeah, they could not get points, field goals, touchdowns, nothing.
And it
So
was
when you
like
do, and
worst
they
in the
were
league by like
last,
a long shot.
yeah, it was like 13%. The next closest was like 38. So it wasn't close. We were terrible once we crossed the 50. So just being loose when we cross the 50 and turning those drives, even to 3 points, is better than anything we got last year. So if we hover around 50, 55% this year on crossing the 50, I think we'll be in good shape, especially in this game. You're going to have to score points.
Yeah, man. You said last year. I mean, honestly, it's been 2 straight years of red zone woes. I know last year was once they crossed the 50. It wasn't that bad in 22, but just the red zone in general has been really bad under Doug. And that's just, yeah, that's not going to cut it against the Dolphins.
Yep.
Let's talk some props. I love props. It's betting season. It's back. I can't wait. We each picked three. I like yours because you kind of scaled your odds up. You took like a normal bet, then you took a plus money bet, then you took like some real juice. So I like the way you did yours, but I took all pretty normal ones. My first one for me is Evan Ingram over 43.5 yards. Look, preseason week 3, he was all over the place in 2 drives. We saw it all last year. He's gonna get targets like crazy. 43.5 yards is silly for him, man. For the amount of targets he's gonna
Yeah.
get and for what we think is gonna happen as far as space being opened up for him. Now you can get that at minus 115, pretty standard odds. Next up, I'm talking Trevor Lawrence over 15.5 rush yards. Now, when Trevor was healthy, I didn't look up the number, but 15.5 yards rushing when he was healthy was nothing. Um, you can look into a couple designed runs, they might pull for him a game, but beyond that, he's super smart about when to tuck it and run. That's like a skill he's picked up over, his career in the league so far. And he's gotten really wise about when to do it. And when he does choose to do it, he's usually very successful. Now, couple that with the fact that this offensive line is probably going to be pretty bad. I think Trevor easily gets 15.5 rushing yards, and he could easily also do it on one scramble. That's at minus 120. Feel great about that one. And then lastly, for me, give me Brian Thomas Jr. over 18.5 yards, longest reception. Let's see. He did it against the Chiefs on the one down the sideline. He did it on a comeback route this week 2 of the preseason, and then he did it week 3 on an over route when he barely played. Yeah, they're going to dial up some shit for Brian Thomas. And you're talking
Yeah.
18.5 yards for the deep threat. I'm going to be all over that at minus 115, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think that one's the safest of the safe bets right there. All right. My three, I went pretty basic here. Jags plus 3.5. Got that at 118. I think it'll be a close game if you want to take money line straight up. Wouldn't doubt you, but I got the Jags at plus 3.5. Building off of your Brian Thomas take, I have Brian Thomas alt receiving yards over 50 plus. So you can get that. This is 122 on FanDuel. So the plus money right here to get 50 plus yards, I think he'll be close to it. You get that over. That's a nice money maker. And then I got ETN at 2+ touchdowns. That is plus 550 right now. Seems kind of high with that line, but I think this is a good opportunity. Dolphins defense is kind of beat up, so I think we'll get a healthy dose of ETN here.
Yeah, do we know what's up with Ramsey yet?
I haven't seen anything. If he plays, I mean, he can't be full go.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Like,
think so.
yeah, so
I don't know, man. This feels like a smart one though to couple up with your finish drives with points. Like let's cap it off with ETN. I like that. I like those plays. Final prediction for this game. Just week 1. What do you got?
It's scary playing the Dolphins early in the year, but I got, with their beat up defense, I got Jags winning. I'm going to go 31-28.
31-28. All right, I'm
We'll
on to
get some
that.
Cam Little magic.
So one of my bets I almost picked was the over because it's only set at 49 points on DraftKings.
Ooh.
And I feel like that's a pretty solid over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta pick the Jags win just because it's the Jags. It's week 1. Duval, baby.
Yeah, they haven't let us down yet.
They look, I could see this one going either way. We've already mentioned why the Dolphins are so dangerous this week, but ultimately, yeah, I think their offensive line is gonna be, pretty porous like ours is, but I think we have the better defensive line to take advantage. And I think it's gonna come down to that ultimately. And so yeah, give me Jags, and I'm gonna say I don't know. 27-23.
Ooh.
Okay. Give me your total prediction for the season record. I'm going to grab a piece of paper and write down our predictions for this week's score.
All right. For the entire season,
Yep.
I think 10-7 is a pretty safe bet. Assuming health, we might even get 11-6. AFC South looks like it might be a bloodbath, so that'll be dependent on that one.
I'm in agreement, except I'm going 10-7. I think I'm going to say they're going to win the division. I've expressed concerns about CJ Stroud on a lot of fantasy shows I've done. I think there's a lot of regression coming for him. First place schedule. Whatever. I don't even know. I'm just spacing.
Interception
Thinking about
luck. He
writing
got
down
lucky.
these predictions. But there's a world where CJ Stroud faces a ton of regression that people just aren't willing to admit is there. Look, it's also entirely possible and probably equally as possible that he's still badass. However, I'm still taking the Jags to win the division in a close one at 10-7. Let's get it to there. So we both got them in the playoffs. How far do you think they go?
How early do we play the Chiefs? No.
That's a fair question, though.
Yeah. I'll give them divisional round. That home playoff game, especially if they win the division, another electric night in Duval. That'd be special time. So I'll give them at least divisional round. I think if we want to be serious about where we should be, it's got to be AFC title game, but I just don't know if we can get there yet.
It's the AFC is just too loaded with quarterbacks, man. It's the AFC playoffs for the next 5 to 7 years is just going to be a quarterback gauntlet.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you look over at the
sucks.
NFC, it's terrible. I hate it.
Yeah, your path in the NFC is so much easier for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get out of here, MVP of the week. You know what? It's all of us, man. We're so fucking back. Football's back. The Jags are back. We're back. God damn it.
Yep. No more making up stuff on the internet for clicks. We get to put real stuff down now. All those bookmarks people saved. Let's hope they don't come back.
Dude, that's a great point. The investigations are over. They're probably not over.
No.
But you're right. Us making shit up just to have something to talk about Jags football. It's finally done. I cannot wait to watch Trevor do Trevor stuff, man. You got any last words?
I got a fun little exercise here.
Lay it on me.
Is there anything that can happen this weekend that would make you be like, ooh, this is not gonna go good? Or are we always gonna chalk it up to it's week 1? And then also the opposite, is there anything that can give you Super Bowl aspirations this weekend?
It's a loaded question. I will always chalk it up to it's week 1 because the NFL in week 1 is fucking weird, man. Like,
Right. Yeah.
it's just like, at least throughout my time of being a true NFL fan, like week 1 historically is just weird. Like, you cannot predict some of the stuff that's going to happen. And then some of the stuff that does happen isn't even close to what's going to happen the next 17 weeks.
Right.
So, if shit hits the fan, you're dang right. I'm going to say it's week 1. Don't worry about it. We'll figure this out. However, if they drop 70 on them, and pull a Dolphins, we're going to the Super Bowl, baby.
We're winning the dang thing. All right, that's fun. I just had that pop in. It's like, what if? Yeah.
All right, that's it for us. Make sure you like this video, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff that you hear on all your YouTube videos. Undroppables Network on the YouTube. You can go find Undroppables on Twitter. Find me on Twitter at Schultzy, SCHU1TZY. Go find Josh on Twitter at J_Collier. Find it on the screens. You can read and look. Do it yourself. I'm just kidding. Or not really, because I can't type it in for you. So do it yourself. Okay, that's it. All right, see you later, man.
See ya.